Hey, and welcome to one of my favourite levels in Ultimate Doom, and it comes very early in Knee Deep in the Dead. It's E1M3 Toxin Refinery. I love this opening, especially on Ultraviolence. I think this is a really nice step up in difficulty. There's pinkies, there's spectres here. The player hasn't seen these up to this point, so it's a nice little step up in difficulty. And what I like about this level, as you can see here, there's just so many enemies in each of the rooms. There's barely a room in this level that isn't packed full of enemies, and it's nice to see that because it provides a nice little shooting gallery for the player to kind of wander through. And as you can see, even though I'm quite experienced with Doom, even I'm kind of losing a lot of health on this level because there's a lot of things that can hit you. We'll head up that lift there. I love this as well. I love that this level gives you the chance to see into future areas. Now, most players, when they open this for the first time, they won't even realise they can probably go there later on. But it's nice that the game sort of shows you that exists. So later on, you can be like, how do I get there? And there's quite a few spaces in this level like that. But I think this is probably my favourite part of this level. This is just so iconic to me. Like, this walking out into the open here, all these enemies shooting you, there's an imp up there. Again, another area where you don't realise that you can actually get there until much later on in the level. And this level's kind of a slog because you're kind of wandering through, you're kind of shooting all these enemies, you grab the blue key here, the lights go out, and it's a trap. This level's quite relentless up until you get the blue key. Well, obviously when you're going back this way, you know, it's a bit quieter because you've killed all the enemies, but on the way to the blue key, it's very much a fight for your life. I also love that there's an element of danger in that middle area because if you kind of make the wrong move, it's very easy to fall into those toxic pits, as you saw there in the middle at the start as well. I like that this level kind of is teaching the player that if they're not careful with how they move, they can get trapped. But again, here's another area where there's a bunch of enemies, so it is not unheard of for me to die in this area because, especially because we haven't got the chain gun yet. But one thing I find really interesting about this level is that if you make it to the end here, as we've done now, you can get to the end of the level and you wouldn't even know that you've missed half of the level basically. Because you can see here, there's a yellow door. Where's the yellow key? Well, I've intentionally waited until the end of the level to kind of go back and do it because I want to sort of show that, like, for a lot of new players, they wander through, they'll go for the blue door and then they're off to the exit. But if this level does nothing else, it teaches the player that exploring can lead to some great rewards. Like, so you can head in here, take on all these shotgunners, take down all the enemies here. There's a great sense of exploration on this level, and I think this is a lot better done than Nuclear Plant E1M2. The maze in that, I feel, doesn't have enough good items in it to sort of warrant the player kind of going out of the way to get it, except for the chainsaw, unless you really want the chainsaw, in my opinion. But with this, there's the yellow key, there's a rocket launcher, there's a supercharge, and there's a secret exit. Now obviously this is all teaching the player that if they listen out, they can hear things happening. Like, for example, when you walk up the steps there, you could hear the panel come down so you could get in here. And you can see that you can look back on previous parts of the level so you can see how far you've progressed. But yeah, one thing I really like about this level is that it richly rewards the player, and it kind of puts in the player's head that if they follow the breadcrumbs, if they know where to go, and if they aren't afraid to kind of go looking off the beaten path, you will be so richly rewarded. And it's very possible, as you can see here, to get all the weapons in Knee Deep in the Dead before you even get to the 4th level. And then you see this here, this area you've been walking past the whole level, and now you see that there's an extra pathway here, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is more level. This is even more level that's missable. The imps there aren't too much trouble. But yeah, I just love how this level kind of goes dense with the secrets, and if you hit that there, obviously to the secret exit you go. But this brings you back out to here, and it just kind of shows you how, like, even when you're kind of looking around, you have to be observant, and for new players it's a big lesson to learn, and this level I think does a better job of it than Nuclear Plant. And obviously here we can head outside the yellow door here, and again this is another rich deposit of items for new players, and they'll get all these goodies, and even if they don't go to the secret level, this is a great place for the players to kind of stock up in the middle of this episode. I have a lot of time for this level. There's a lot of iconic moments like the lights going out, stepping outside into that area with the toxic pools, these steps here. If you don't kill all those shotgunners at the bottom, they can wander up behind you and shoot you. But yeah, I've got so much time for Toxin Refinery. It's in my opinion, it's one of the high points of Knee Deep in the Dead, and definitely one of the best levels in Ultimate Doom. It's a nice challenge, it's fun, and it richly rewards the player for exploring. Definitely one of my favourite levels in Ultimate Doom, and it comes really early as well, so a lot of players will experience it, which is nice. So what's your opinion on Toxin Refinery? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you think it's a bit too difficult for this point in the game? Or do you think it's the right level of challenge? Do let me know in the comments what your thoughts on Toxin Refinery are, and thank you very much for watching.